Hi everyone, I am Dr. Soundararaj. I am very happy to interact with you all through this video. In this video, I am going to teach you the calculation of internal rate of return for two projects and help you to choose which project is more profitable than the other one. These are all a couple of details related to my career. After you watch the full video, if you find the video useful to you, give a like to the video. Kindly subscribe my YouTube channel and enable the notification so that you will get the notifications of my new videos on commerce and management topics. Let's get into the problem. A company has to select one of the following two projects. They are known as Project A and Project B. Cost of Project A comes to 11,000 rupees. Cost of Project B is only 10,000 rupees. Now the cash inflows for 4 years of both the projects are presented here in the problem. So we are straight away given with the cash inflow which is really required for calculating IRR in the problem. Using the internal rate of return method suggests which project is preferable. So we can directly go for the calculation of IRR. With regard to Project A, first let us calculate the average cash inflow of the project. How to calculate average cash inflow of the project? Let us sum up all these four values, the four cash inflows or the cash inflows for the 4 years of the project. It comes to 14,000. Divided by 4 years, it gives the average cash inflow of the project as 3,500 rupees. Why do we calculate this and why do we go for applying the other formula which is given as factor to be located is equal to investment divided by average cash flow. This factor to be located will enable us to know what possible rates could be tried under trial and error method to find out the IRR for a project. See, in this project, we don't have any idea where exactly IRR is going to lie. In that situation, this particular step will help us to identify what possible percentages we should try to calculate the internal rate of return of a project. That is what the idea behind this formula. Factor to be located is equal to investment divided by average cash inflow. Now investment of project A is 11,000 divided by average cash inflow which we calculated now. It is 3,500. So the factor to be located is 3.14. Now the factor in case of project A would be 3.14 and the discount percentage would be somewhere between 10% and 12%. So they mean the IRR would lie between 10% and 12%. How do they say that? Let me take you through the PVIFA table where you can understand the reason why they say the IRR for project A would lie between 10% and 12%. Now look at this table 2 which is the present value of rupee 1 received annually for years which is nothing but PVIFA table. Let us pass through the row for 4th year which is the lifespan of the project. Let's look for a value of 3.14 or which is something closer to 3.14. See here. At 12% it comes to 3.037. At 10% it comes at 3.170. So obviously the IRR for project A should lie in between 10 and 12% because our targeted value of factor is what? 3.14. It should lie in between 10 and 12. That is why they clearly said the factor to be located helps us to understand that IRR for project A lies between 10 and 12%. Now let's continue to do our working for 10% discount rate and 12% discount rate with regard to project A. Now here is the first column. The second one is about cash inflows of project A. Present value factor at 10%. Now they have multiplied the cash inflows of project A with respect to PVIF. This is to be picked up from table number 1. When cash inflows are not uniform, you need to refer PVIF table which is table number 1 to find out the present value interest factor for each year separately, and that is what they have done. Now 6,000 into 0.909 has given us 5,454. 2000 into 0.826 has given us 1,652. 1000 into 0.751, it is given as 751 rupees. Then 5000 into 0.683 has given us 3415. Altogether, the total of present value of cash inflows for project A at 10% discount rate comes to 11,272. Now the next rate we should try is 12%. At 12%, these are all the PVIF factors according to table number 1. Now let us multiply the cash inflows of project A with respect to PVIF for each year. It is given as these values. The total of the present value of cash inflows at 12% for project A comes to 10,844. Yes, now we are ready for calculating IRR of project A. How do you say that? Yes, when we calculate the total present value of cash inflows, one value should be lesser than 11,000, which is the investment. Other value should be higher than the value of our investment. Then only we can interpolate in between these two values. One is higher and the other one is lower. We can find out the IRR which stands in the middle of or in between these two values. That's the idea of what I said. Now let's get into the calculation. IRR is equal to the lesser percent among the two, 10 and 12. 10 is the lesser percent, so we have written 10% plus the total present value of cash inflows at 10%, which is 11,272, minus the target value, which is nothing but our investment, the whole divided by the total present value of cash inflows minus the total present value of cash inflows at the other person, 12%, into difference between the two rates, that comes to 2. The whole should be kept within bracket. You write the percentage symbol outside. This is what to be done for you to easily calculate IRR. Then is equal to 10% plus 272 divided by 428 into 2 is equal to 10% plus 1.27%. The total IRR for project A comes to 11.27%, which obviously lies in between 10 and 12%. This is the best method for calculating IRR. Then similar thing we do for project B. We total the cash inflows of project B. It comes to 14,000 for all the 4 years, divided by 4, which is the economic life of the project. We get average cash inflow of project B as 3,500. Now factor to be located is calculated. Investment is 10,000 rupees divided by average cash inflow 3,500. 2.857, which is the target value with regard to PVIFA table. Let us find out where 2.857 lies in PVIFA, that is table number 2. If you refer the row in 4th year, you find 2.857 that should lie in between 14 and 15%. But to be in a safer side, what you could do, you can try one rate at 10% and the other one as 15%. Obviously, there is no issue at all. You can even try 12% and 15% or 12% and 16%. See, the condition is what? We should get the total present values of the project. One should be higher than the investment 10,000, other should be lesser than the investment 10,000. Then only we can apply the technique of interpolation. So here it should lie in between 14 and 15%. What is the target value? 2.857. Here they have tried 10% and 15%. No issue at all. Fine. You can even try, as I said, 12% and 16%. You will get the same answer. Cash inflows are presented here in the table. Now PV factor at 15% have been picked up from table number 1 and presented here. Then present values of cash inflows at 15% have been calculated. 1000 into 0.870, 1000 into 0.756, 2000 into 0.658, 10,000 into 0.572. It has given us these values, which are nothing but present values of cash inflows. The total comes to 8,662. this value is lesser than our target investment 10,000 rupees. When we try 10%, these present value interest factors have been picked up from PVIF table number 1 for 10%. Fine. Now let us multiply the cash inflows with respect to PVIF at 10%. You get these present value of cash inflows as per the last column. Now if you total them, it gives us the total of 10,067. So it is higher than the target value by 67 rupees. So one value is lesser than the target value and the other one is higher than the target value of investment 10,000 rupees. Now we can go for calculating IRR for project B. 10%, which is the lower percent among the two rates we tried for project B, that are 10% and 15%. So we have written the lesser percent 10% plus the total present value of cash inflows at 10%, which is 10,067, minus our target value, which is nothing but investment value, divided by the total present value of cash inflows at 10% minus the total present value of cash inflows at 15%, 8,662, into difference between the two rates 10% and 15%. It comes to 5. Keep the second working within bracket and write percentage symbol outside. Now 10% plus, if you simplify this, it gives us 10% plus 0.238%. The total comes to 10.238%, which is IRR of project B. Now if you compare the IRR of the two projects A and B, I am sure A gives 11.27% but B gives 10.238% only. So the project with the higher IRR is profitable and preferable. So we recommend project A over project B in this situation. I hope I have done my lecture up to your level of satisfaction with regard to the calculation of internal rate of return. Fine. If you watch the videos for 2-3 times, I am very sure that you will understand the calculation of internal rate of return. Thanks for watching this video. I'll meet you in another video. Bye for now.